Javier Gonzales, mayor of Santa Fe, a sanctuary city, who says that he will defy the Justice Department order. Mayor, thank you for joining us tonight. Good to have you here. Were you invited? Did you decide not to attend today? Where was your stand?
Well, first, look, it was disingenuous for the president to call this meeting to talk about investing in our infrastructure, helping us to rebuild our economies at the local level, and then, of course, come out with this threat from the Department of Justice that really has no merit to it. And so, of course, I didn't want to participate, nor do I think we should until the administration is ready to be honest about working with local governments.
You're calling it a threat. I think they're calling it the federal law, and whether or not your city is upholding federal law. And as you heard the president put it there, he talked about putting the needs or wants or desires of illegal immigrants ahead of American citizens. So how do you, what do you say to that? How do you respond to that? Why is that okay?
Well, first, the president's wrong about the priorities of cities across this country. Our first mandate is to keep our community safe and to follow the laws. The president doesn't know the people that I know in our community that are hardworking people. They're immigrants that have come to this country seeking a better life. They participate in our communities. They participate in our economies, in our schools. And there's a broken immigration system that is not allowing them to be able to have recognition.
You and I have talked before, and you brought that up the last time that we spoke, that you say your desire is to fix the system. So now there's been a discussion in Washington about fixing the system, having a trade-off for border security and funding for a wall to protect the dreamers. Are you in favor of that kind of deal?
Look, I'm in favor of everything we can do to make sure that the dreamers that are here, that are participating in our country, are allowed to continue to do so. I'm in favor of any type of federal immigration fix that allows for there to be ways to provide for some level of documentation for people that are currently living in the shadows.
Right, so, and he's even said that he would approve of a morphing for the dreamers to citizenship. So can you answer my question? Are you in favor of building a wall if the trade-off is protection for the dreamers? Are you in favor of that?
Look, building a wall is not going to do anything to help secure our country. What we need to do is work alongside with federal officials to make sure we target people who want to commit violent crimes in our country. That's where we need to partner with the federal government. That's where the federal government needs to partner with the local law enforcement.
Let me ask you about that. What is the policy? Because the thrust of what was decided today is that they're going to ask cities like yours, what do you tell the police officers? How do you advise them?
Here's what the president wants us to do.
I asked you a question. What do they tell the police officers in Santa Fe in terms of whether or not they need to turn in people who have been requested to be turned over by ICE, or people who are brought into police stations across the city? And what do you tell them about how they should deal with people who are potentially here illegally?
We tell our law enforcement officers that if there is a federal warrant out for the arrest for a violent crime, that we fully participate with federal immigration officials to make sure that those individuals are removed from our streets and that they are brought to justice. But anyone who is living in our country peacefully, we don't ask for papers when we stop someone on the street. We don't ask someone to show their citizenship. That's not our requirement as a city. We're there to make sure that we keep our community safe.
What would you do to, so is that flow just continuous? We should just continue to let people in? At what point do you draw the line and say, you know what, we have to take care of the people who are here legally in our country? We have to deal with them first. We can't allow more and more people to come through chain migration and other means.
Well, look, first of all, that's having comments and terminology like chain migration goes against all the values of our country when it comes to how we address the issues of families.
How does it?
Let me answer your question. What we do is we make sure that we protect our communities by working along with federal law enforcement officials to make sure that any individual who wants to commit a violent crime, I don't care whether they grew up in Santa Fe or they came to our city, we will do everything we can to stop them before they could commit any type of violent crime. If we pick somebody up and through our database we know they've committed a violent crime, we work quickly with immigration officials.
What if they have never committed a violent crime, but they commit their first violent crime, which has happened many times, against an innocent individual in this country and take their life? How do you prevent that from happening if you don't stop them with the first episode of law breaking, which is being here illegally?
Well, the first thing that you need to do is fix an immigration system that allow people to come out of the shadows and be able to get some form of documentation.
So you're in favor of building the wall in exchange for DACA? I'm
in favor of making sure that we have investments in border security that work along with local government officials to stop people that want to commit violent crimes from coming into our country. A wall, I can tell you, in New Mexico is not going to keep violent criminals from coming out of our state and inflicting harm on our citizens. What we do need to do is actually work with the federal government to target people who want to commit violent crimes.
Maybe it would have been a good start to show up for the meeting today.
Well, if we actually would have shown up, if the president would have been honest about what he wanted to deal with and how we can move forward. We can actually move our country forward by investing in infrastructure, fixing our immigration system, and doing what we know best, and that's working collectively as a country, valuing diversity and making sure that we're able to move forward by building an economy that works for everybody.
There's a lot of reason to get together and negotiate. It could begin with discussions. Thank you very much. Good to have you here tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for allowing me.
We'll hope to see you again.